Good evening, everyone. I'm Larry Rizepka, the Executive Director for Portal Charities. Thank you for joining us for tonight's webinar. I'd like to ask Bill Mundy, who's chair of our Charitable Giving Committee, to introduce our guest tonight. Bill?
Larry, thank you so much and welcome everyone. I'm delighted to have the opportunity to introduce our guest speaker, Brittany Bullock. Brittany joined Virginia 529 in 2013 as a financial operations analyst. Since then, she has moved into the role of senior marketing associate, spending most of her time educating individuals and families on the importance of ABLE accounts and how empowering they are for people with disabilities. As part of the marketing team, she also conducts virtual events and webinars, both within the state and also nationwide. Brittany has a BS in business from Virginia Commonwealth University with a concentration in international business. She is passionate about helping others and looks forward to sharing this wonderful information with all of us. Brittany, thank you for joining us, and I'll turn the meeting over to you.
Wonderful. Thank you for the great introduction, and good afternoon, everyone. I'm going to share my screen here. Just bear with me 1 second. All right. And Bill or John, can I get a thumbs up if you're able to see my screen? Wonderful. Again, thank you all to Portal Charities for inviting me out to share information on the ABLEnow program. We have a lot of great information to share this evening. So we'll start off first by just talking about what I'll cover in tonight's presentation. So my hope tonight is that you'll leave this session with an understanding of the ABLE Act, which establishes the rules and requirements of ABLE accounts, such as who is eligible and how much you can save and how to use the account. Give me 1 second. All right, sorry. Excuse me. It looked like I had accidentally got muted. So again, we're going to talk about the rules and requirements to establish an ABLE account or have an ABLE account. We'll talk about the features and benefits of the ABLE programs and how to get more information or how to open an account. And the reason this is very important is because ABLE accounts are a new financial tool for eligible individuals with disabilities. And we really need the help need your help to spread the word about this empowering program. So it is estimated that around 8 million Americans with disabilities are eligible to have an ABLE account. But the last time that we kind of ran a survey and kind of did some data collection, we learned that only 1% of eligible individuals actually have opened an ABLE account. So again, we're really trying to get this word out there and really trying to encourage individuals and families and caretakers to look into the ABLE savings programs. I do want to quickly note, because I know we'll get a lot of great questions tonight. So ABLEnow is an independent state agency. I am not a legal, financial, or tax advisor. So if you do have those specific legal, financial, or tax questions, I can give some guidance on some different sources that you can reach out to kind of get that information that you may need. All right, so we're going to go ahead and start with this slide here. So what is ABLE? So again, ABLE accounts are relatively new. They're a savings option that are specifically designed for eligible individuals with disabilities to save funds for the purposes of paying for qualified disability expenses. And for far too long, people with disabilities could not save for the future out of the fear of losing their public benefits. You all may more than likely know that individuals with disabilities can only have $2,000 in assets at any given time in order to remain eligible for many benefit programs, which again provide much needed support and services. I was chatting with Bill and Larry before the session started. But the idea for ABLE actually came about around 15 years ago when a group of parents in Northern Virginia were frustrated that they could establish college savings accounts for their children without disabilities, but they couldn't actually save money for their children with disabilities. So again, they advocated, they fought for this change. They fought to change this inequity, which resulted in the ABLE Act. And that ABLE Act, or ABLE, stands for Achieving a Better Life Experience. So with the ABLE Act, what it does is it empowers individuals or their families to save up to $17,000 a year in an ABLE account without endangering eligibility for certain means-tested disability benefits like SSI and SSDI or Medicaid. Working account owners who do not participate in an employee-sponsored retirement plan may actually be able to contribute above the annual contribution limit thanks to the Able to Work Act. And for this year, individuals who can participate in the Able to Work Act would be able to save a maximum of $30,590. So I know, John, you had a question about this, and once we get to the end and do the Q&A, I can kind of go into more detail about that for you. But ideally, again, keep in mind, they can contribute up to $17,000 for 2023 if they are working and are eligible for the Able to Work Act. They would be able to save around $30,000 in the account. Just some quick information. The Federal ABLE Act of 2014 modified U.S. Tax Code 529, and that is what opened the doors for ABLE accounts. So you may or may not be familiar with 529 accounts, which are the college savings accounts. Well, ABLE accounts are considered a 529A account because they have some of those same tax benefits as the 529 accounts would. And again, the ABLE Act is named for the gentleman from Northern Virginia who advocated for this change, and his name was Mr. Stephen Beck Jr. Unfortunately, Mr. Beck did pass away before the ABLE Act was signed into law. So they did name the law, they did name it the ABLE Act to honor him and his advocacy. And we also like to note that his daughter, Natalie, was one of our first ABLEnow customers, and his widow, Catherine Beck, currently serves on our board, and she does a lot of advocacy work with the disability community and with the ABLE program. So what is ABLEnow? So I just talked about the ABLE Act, which is the federal act that established the ABLE Savings Program. Well, ABLEnow is the largest independent direct sold ABLE savings program in the country, and it opened in December of 2016. Although ABLEnow is sponsored by the Commonwealth of Virginia, it is available nationwide to eligible U.S. citizens and legal residents, regardless of state residency. And as of today, we do actually have accounts in all 50 states. And then later in the presentation, I'll get into details of some of the advantages of the ABLEnow program, including the industry's first mobile app, which really helps customers manage their accounts and improve that accessibility. ABLEnow is administered by Virginia 529. So you may or may not be familiar, but Virginia 529 is an independent state agency that runs the largest college savings plan in the country. And we've been helping families dream, save, and achieve for over 25 years now. And with ABLEnow, our mission has become even more inclusive. So again, in summary, ABLEnow is the Virginia-sponsored ABLE Savings Program, or what we call our direct sold program. So you would go directly to our website to open, to manage, check your balances on your account. And then we also offer an advisor sold program. And this program is called Able America. And Able America is the first and only ABLE program available through a financial advisor. And this program opened back in July of 2018. Able America is distributed by Capital Group, which is home of American Funds, and they're one of the oldest and largest mutual fund companies in the country. Able America is open to eligible individuals in all 50 states. And just like other ABLE programs, Able America is governed by the rules and requirements established by the ABLE Act. Again, such as like who is eligible, how much you can save, etc. So with Able America, a financial advisor can actually work with you and give professional advice and help you build a comprehensive plan tailored to your unique needs. So in summary for Able America, again, Able America is an advisor sold program. So again, you would contact a financial advisor if you're interested in Able America or interested in learning a little more about the Able America program. But for the purposes of tonight's presentation, we're going to focus solely on our direct sold program, which is again the ABLEnow program. So we just talked about the ABLE Act, which establishes the rules and requirements. We talked about ABLEnow, which is the Virginia ABLE Savings Program, and then also the advisor sold program, Able America. So now we're going to kind of shift gears and we're going to take a look at who is eligible and how you can use the funds and kind of those rules and requirements of an ABLE account. So the biggest question that we get is, who is eligible? How am I eligible for an ABLEnow account? So an eligible individual is someone who developed the onset of their disability before the age of 26, and they are entitled to supplemental security income or Social Security disability insurance based on blindness or disability, or they self-certify that they have a qualifying disability diagnosis from a physician. It is very important to note that an eligible individual can only have one ABLE account at any given time. So if you have an ABLEnow account for your family member, and then let's say Aunt Susie lives in Colorado and she wants to open an ABLE account for that same individual, she would not be able to. So again, that individual can only have one ABLE account at a time. Again, just as a reminder, ABLEnow is open to eligible individuals in any state, and an individual can actually open an ABLE account at any age. So you can open an ABLE account if you're older than the age of 26, but just keep in mind the onset of that disability has to be prior to the age of 26. And then I do want to share some really exciting news with you all. So the end of December, the ABLE Age Adjustment Act was passed. And the ABLE Age Adjustment Act is going to raise that eligibility from onset prior to age 26 to onset of disability prior to age 46. And so this is going to allow millions of more people with disabilities to be able to take advantage of the important savings tools that are ABLE accounts. This age change will not go in effect until 2026. So it did pass, but again, they are not going to put that into effect until 2026. But it is something that we are excited for, especially with disabled vets and individuals who may have received their disability at a later age. But again, currently onset of disability prior to the age of 26, but starting in 2026, it will go up to the age of 46. So the biggest question that we get a lot of times is, what can I use my funds for? How can those funds be used? So money in your ABLE account may be used at any time to pay for a qualified disability expense. And an expense is a qualified expense if it was incurred at the time they were considered an eligible individual, the expense relates to their disability, and the expense helps to maintain their health, independence, and quality of life. So we have some examples here on the screen, and the examples of the qualified disability expenses include, but are not limited to, these categories. And these categories were intentionally designed to be broad, as qualified disability expenses can vary widely from person to person. The great thing is that we do not require documentation or receipts on what you're going to use the funds for, but we do encourage you to kind of keep track of that in case the IRS will ever need to audit the account or anything like that. But a couple of examples. So we have some account owners that may use their card or use their account for those daily living expenses, food, clothing, groceries, fuel for transportation to get around to and from appointments. They use it for education and training. We've had account owners use their funds saved for kind of fun things. We had a young lady who just took a vacation. Beforehand, she was never able to save the funds to save up to be able to take a nice vacation. So she was able to use her ABLE account. She went to Disney. So that's a quality of a life experience. So again, the key thing to keep in mind is if that expense is going towards the disability and helping to maintain that health, independence, or quality of life, it would be considered a qualified disability expense. So what are some of the advantages of saving with an ABLEnow account? So again, that first one and that main advantage is saving beyond those asset limitations. So again, generally funds in an ABLEnow account are disregarded when determining eligibility for certain means tested benefit programs such as Medicaid and SSI. So for SSI benefits, an account balance up to and including $100,000 is disregarded. Any money in the ABLEnow account in excess of $100,000 would be considered an asset and may cause those SSI benefits to be reduced or suspended. So again, if an individual is receiving SSI, they have to keep in mind $100,000 is the balance that they can have. Anything over that, SSI is going to look at that as an asset and again may reduce or stop those SSI benefits. There's, however, no impact on a Medicaid benefit, regardless of how much money is in the ABLEnow account. And I do want to take a quick second to just kind of mention the Medicaid clawback provision. So with some states, there is a Medicaid clawback provision where if the individual with the disability were to pass away and all final expenses are paid out of the ABLE account, the state could come back and kind of reclaim funds or reimburse themselves for those Medicaid related expenses that the individual incurred. The state of Virginia no longer has the Medicaid clawback provision. So in 2020, legislation was passed and they no longer have the Medicaid recovery claim or that Medicaid clawback provision. And it will stay that way unless federal law requires to do so. But again, if the individual is in another state, we just encourage them to check with their state to kind of see what their state stance is with Medicaid recovery claims and with ABLE accounts. Now, another thing I want to note too is that an individual could have an ABLEnow account and not actually receive SSI or SSDI. And then in that case, they wouldn't have to worry about that $100,000 limit. And the total amount that you can actually save in an ABLEnow account for the state of Virginia is $550,000. So again, if an individual is not receiving those SSI benefits, they do not have to worry about that $100,000 limit. They can actually have an account balance of $550,000. So I do want to just mention that. Right, so the next advantage is that you can save with the help of others. And so anyone can make a contribution to an ABLEnow account, including the account owner, their family, their friends. And make a gift contribution is very simple and easy. If you visit our website, there is a gifting link there, and it'll tell you how you can make those gift contributions to an ABLEnow account. And then with direct deposit or a paycheck or Social Security income or other recurring electronic payments can also be automatically deposited into the ABLEnow account. So making it very easy to grow that account or make those contributions to the ABLEnow account. The third advantage, save in an account designed for your unique needs. So ABLE accounts are flexible and low cost to maintain. You can manage your account anytime, anywhere with accessible online tools and a mobile app. And you can pay for your qualified disability expenses with your ABLEnow card. And that card is available to the account holders or their authorized representatives at no additional cost. And it's a Visa debit card, so you can use that card wherever Visa is accepted. And then lastly, save tax-free. So earnings on investments in an ABLEnow account grow tax-free and are never taxed when used for a qualified disability expense. The ABLEnow contributions may actually qualify for the Savers Tax Credit if the account owner is eligible. And then in addition, some states may also offer a state tax incentive. So for Virginians, Virginia, the earnings grow again tax-free from federal and state taxes. And for individuals who make a contribution to an ABLEnow account, they can actually take a state tax deduction of up to $2,000, and that's actually per contributor. So if you have an individual, a loved one with an ABLE account, and if you make a $500 contribution or $2,000 contribution, but then let's say their mom makes a contribution, let's say grandma makes a contribution, and all of your Virginia residents, you all would be able to take that $2,000 state tax deduction, or up to $2,000. Great. So there are also some investment options. So again, ABLE accounts are really designed to kind of meet families' needs. So do they need the funds right away, or do they plan on saving these funds and maybe using it down the road? So ABLEnow makes it very easy to save and invest at your own pace. And here's how the investment portion works. So the first $2,000 in your ABLEnow account is automatically allocated to an FDIC-insured ABLEnow deposit account, and that is linked to your ABLEnow card. That is a mouthful to say, so typically we just call it the deposit account. So again, the first $2,000 goes to your deposit account, which is linked to that ABLEnow debit card. You can continue to save your contributions in this deposit account, or you may choose to invest those funds. So once the balance of your ABLEnow account exceeds $2,000, you have the option to invest additional contributions into one or more investment portfolio. Each portfolio option is intended to address a different investment strategy. The four that you see listed here: the aggressive growth, moderate, conservative income, and that money market. And again, just before we go to the next slide, the investment option, it is optional. So you can decide to just have everything go to your deposit account. You can start investing, and maybe if you want to stop investing, you can log in and again, stop that and just have everything go to that deposit account. There are minimal costs associated with maintaining your ABLEnow account. And so ABLEnow, along with our custodian PNC Bank, offers some of the lowest fees in the country among ABLE programs. And the great thing is that the fees are the same for all customers, regardless of their state of residency. There is no enrollment fee and no minimum contribution. There is an account service fee of $3.25 per month. This service fee is waived if you maintain a balance of over $10,000 in the ABLEnow account. I will say, I know that sometimes I get the question of, if there's not enough to cover it, or if you open an account and don't have it funded yet, will they pull that fee? They will not pull that fee if there's not enough in the account to cover it. So these accounts cannot go into the negative. So account owners would not have to worry about that. And then if the account owner or their authorized representative chooses to invest some of the funds, there are also some asset-based fees depending on the investment selection. Right, so kind of a screenshot of what our website looks like, ablenow.com. So if you're ready to start your savings, again, ABLEnow is open for national enrollment, and the application is available on our website by clicking on the purple Open an Account button at the top of the screen. And then at the top of the screen, you'll also see some other links. So you'll see the My Account tab where you can manage your ABLEnow account. You'll see the Give a Gift tab that's right here. And that's where you can click on that to kind of learn those options on how to make a gift contribution. You can subscribe to our newsletter. And then we have the eligibility. Under this eligibility tab, there's some resources under there like an eligibility quiz as well. All right, so now we're going to kind of shift gears and we're going to look at how to open an account, what documentation is needed, who can open an account. So who can open an ABLEnow account? So again, if the individual is over the age of 18, they may open and manage an ABLEnow account independently. Or if the eligible individual is a minor under the age of 18, if they're unable to open the account or choose to open an account but not exercise signature authority, an individual authorized to act on their behalf may open and manage the account as an authorized representative. And on this screen here, this kind of gives information on what is needed. And so what information will you need or will the individual need in order to open their account? So if the individual is 18 and they're opening the account for themselves, they're going to need to provide their personally identifiable information. And that includes the name, address, date of birth, social security number. And then they'll have the option to go back in and enter a bank account information. They can either do that with their application or do it later on. They don't have to add a bank account, but adding the bank account makes it very easy to transfer funds from a bank account to the ABLE account or vice versa. Now, if you're going to open the account as an authorized representative, so you're going to open the account for someone else, you're going to need to provide that personally identifiable information for the eligible individual and then also for the authorized representative. I do want to note that the eligible individual will always be the account owner. And then again, the authorized representative is the individual who is acting on their behalf. So for authorized representatives, parents, grandparents, sibling, and spouses can all open an ABLEnow account by self-certifying their relationship to the eligible individual. And for these categories of eligible family members, no type of documentation of the relationship is needed or required during enrollment. Now, if an individual is a power of attorney, legal guardian, care representative, or a rep payee, they will be required to upload the appropriate legal documentation electronically before being able to contribute or withdraw funds from the ABLEnow account or use the ABLEnow card. But applicants in these categories will receive instructions on how to submit that required documentation during enrollment. And so again, legal guardians, power of attorney, care reps, rep payees, individuals with conservatorships, guardianship would be able to open an account as the authorized representative. And then again, I've mentioned before how it's very easy to manage your account, to access your information. And so we really try to aim to make it very easy for individuals to be able to access their account 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. So there is the online consumer portal. You can access your account by selecting My Account from the website. And then mobile users can actually download and use the ABLEnow app. And so the mobile app just makes it very convenient to manage your account from a mobile device and when you're on the go. That mobile app is available in the Apple App Store and the Google Play Store for Android phones. And we also really like to talk about security with accounts and protecting information. And so we always encourage individuals to have a strong password. Keep your contact information up to date. And it's very important in case we need to send out documentation or send out a letter or reach out to you. So again, we do try to just make sure account holders or their authorized representatives make sure that they have that strong password set up, that their information is safe and secure. And then lastly, what I'll mention is that whether you're using the online portal or the mobile app, you'll be able to check your account balances. You'll be able to make a contribution or pay for a qualified disability expense. You can even upload receipts to organize and track those qualified disability expenses. And you can view your account statements and notification and even reach out to customer service if needed. As a thank you for allowing us to come and present tonight, you can enter to win $500 towards an ABLE account. So if you already have one or looking to open one, and the easiest way to do that is if you visit the link ablenow.com/win. Again, that's ablenow.com/win. And that would be a chance to win $500 towards an ABLEnow account. All right, so the last two slides that I have for you all. So I'm going to take a second to cover these frequently asked questions. And then if you have a question, feel free to throw it in the chat, or if you want to unmute yourself, you can definitely do that. But I'm going to go through these frequently asked questions first and then kind of answer the questions that are in the chat. And so the first question that we have here, and one that we receive a lot of times, is they want to know, I'm older than the age of 26. Can I open an ABLEnow account? And the answer is yes. So again, an eligible individual is someone who developed the onset of their disability prior to the age of 26, but you can be over the age of 26 and open an ABLEnow account. Going down the slide here, do I need to live in a certain state to open an ABLEnow account? And the answer is no. So again, we have nationwide enrollment. So if you have loved ones in another state and you want to share this information with them, please feel free to do so. How much can I save in my ABLEnow account each year? So for 2023, individuals are empowered to save up to $17,000. But as a reminder, those working account owners may be able to contribute above that annual contribution limit, thanks to the Able to Work Act. I also want to make a quick note. The annual contribution limits are tied in with the gift tax. So when ABLE first started, our annual contribution limit was $14,000. And then we soon after went up to $15,000. Last year it was $16,000. And this year it was bumped up to $17,000. So if that gift tax amount ever goes up, that federal gift tax, you'll see the ABLE contribution limits go up as well. A very important question. Can you have an ABLEnow account in a special needs trust? And the answer is yes. You can use your ABLEnow account in conjunction with other types of trust and other types of trust accounts. And it may actually make sense to have both an ABLE account in a special needs trust. So I have chatted with families who have both. They may have a special needs trust and they may pull funds from the trust to go into the ABLE account, or they may use their ABLE account to fund their special needs trust. So you can have both, you can use both. And if you have questions about special needs trust, the ARC of Northern Virginia is actually a really great resource. And we actually just did a session with them not too long ago and kind of talked about ABLE accounts and special needs trust. So if you have questions about this special needs trust, the ARC of Northern Virginia, or you can reach out to a lawyer or a legal professional and they would be able to assist you. The next question is, who can contribute to an ABLEnow account? Anyone can make a contribution, your family, your friends. other individuals, your neighbor. So again, anyone can make those contributions. And then lastly, where do I go to open my ABLEnow account? And again, you're going directly to our website, ablenow.com, and you'll click on that Open an Account tab, and it'll walk you through step by step on that application process and let you know if there's any documentation that's needed, or if you need to upload anything for them. We also have a additional section on our website with more frequently asked questions. So that can be found under the resources and the FAQs tab. And then the last slide that I have for you all today is the customer service information. So we're going to answer the questions that are in the chat, but if there's a question that you have after tonight's session, I think Bill and Larry said that you guys can email them and they would get the question to me. But if not, if it's sometime down the road, or if you need assistance with managing or opening your account, you can always reach out to our customer service team. They'll be more than happy to assist you, but also feel free to check out the website too. There's a lot of great resources available on our website as well. All right, so I will go ahead and pull up the questions. All right, so John, for your question, John's question was kind of talking about those annual contribution limits, and his son, individual, they're working at Harris Teeter. So because they are working, and if they're not participating in the employee sponsor retirement plan, which typically a lot of individuals are not because they're not full-time, they're more than likely working part-time, you guys would be able to contribute an additional amount to the ABLE account. So the annual contribution limit for the Able to Work is $30,000. It's like $30,100 or around that. There's a form that you all would just have to complete. So once you guys reach that $17,000 threshold, there's a form on our website that you guys would just complete that form, and then it would allow for those additional contributions to be made to the ABLE account. All right. The next part of your question is our penalty for over contributing. So actually, there is not a penalty, but the way that our system is set up is that if you reach that threshold, they'll actually stop those contributions from coming in, and they'll actually return the contribution to you. So there is kind of an automatic kind of threshold set up in the account in that system. So again, if you're going to do those additional contributions with the Able to Work, you just want to make sure that you have that form on file so they know that you can make those additional contributions. And then your bank account question, that's a really good question. So it might be capped at 5. And what I'm going to do is I will kind of research that for you and get an answer over to kind of get an answer over for you on how many bank accounts are limited in the portal. But I believe it may be 5 bank accounts, because I think on the 529 side, it's also at 5 that you're able to add to the account.
Okay.
Awesome.
Thank you.
You're very welcome. Caroline, do you have to have the SSDI in place before opening the account? You do not. So we actually have account owners who aren't receiving SSI or SSDI. A lot of our account owners may self-certify. Some of our account owners tell us that they've opened the account, they weren't receiving benefits, but then they got their ABLE account and they were able to qualify for benefits. So again, you do not have to have that in place before opening your ABLE account. Can you, individual Lori, getting back payment from SSI, can that be placed into an ABLE account? And yes, so those Social Security benefits can be deposited into the ABLE account. Some people will have it set where it goes automatically. Some have it go into their account and then transfer it over that way. But you can have those funds go in there. Any type of funds can go into the ABLE account. So if an individual is receiving reoccurring payments, if they're receiving, if they're Social Security payments, if they're working, if they get money from grandma and grandpa and want to put that into their account. But yes, to answer your question, those funds can be deposited to the ABLE account. Very good question. All right, so I think those are all of the questions that have come in so far. Does anyone else have a question or want to unmute? I will go ahead and stop sharing my screen here. All right. Any additional? Yes, Bill. Oh, I don't think we can hear you.
This is Michael O'Hara. I have a quick question.
Yes.
Are you able to share your slides with us, or
Yeah,
is that
yep.
something?
No, so I will tonight, once we're finished, I'm going to send Bill Bill and Larry a PDF copy of the slide deck and of our brochure. And then that way you guys can have that to kind of refer back to that.
Because my fingers are cramped up from writing all the information down.
No, I get it. I get it. Yeah, I'll definitely send that over so that you guys can have a copy of that.
And just so you know, everyone who is registered for tonight, whether they showed up or not, we will send those slides out. We'll send the PDF out to you.
Awesome.
And Larry, let me also add, I believe that we're going to go ahead and make arrangements to have the recorded webinar put on our website.
That is correct.
So that'll be available in a few days, and anyone can access that anytime they want to.
Mm-hmm.
So if an uncle dies or something and leaves money to my son who has who will have an ABLE account, then the limit is still the 17,000. There's not
It is. Yeah, I did a session earlier today and a similar question came up. So again, I am not the legal professional, but in a situation like that, Caroline, that's where some families may look into doing some sort of like a trust and having an ABLE account, because with those trusts, whether it's a third party, a pool trust, a special needs trust, you're able to have more funds, more money in those accounts than the ABLE accounts. So a lot of times when I talk to families, and if they are receiving a settlement or an inheritance, they may decide to put it in that special needs trust and then maybe move the funds from one to the other. But yeah, they would still be that $17,000 cap for the ABLE account.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, so Bill, I'm going to go back to you now.
Okay, I think I'm.
Yes.
Okay, you can hear me now. Okay, my attorney told me that I could not put Social Security benefits into ABLE accounts.
You can. So when we first started, there was kind of some, I think, gray areas with that, but you are now able to add those benefits to the ABLE account. And here's when you open an ABLE account, the Social Security Administration will be notified. So they'll know that you have the account. And sometimes they may just ask for proof. And there's a letter that our customer service team can send out to show proof of the ABLE account, but you can have those funds go in the account. Social Security Administration will be notified. They'll know that you have that account. But yes, you can have those funds go in there.
And so if she's receiving those funds through my wife as a representative payee, she could deposit those funds, that Social Security, or funds from Social Security into the ABLE account.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay.
All right, go to you, John. Yes.
So Bill, I think it's been 3 months now. I now have Sean's SSDI payment going directly to the ABLE account. It does not go into his checking account and then I move it over. I had it changed to go directly into the ABLE account. And so my questions for Brittany about amounts and earnings and that was next year when I start drawing Social Security, he's going to go over the 17,000 limit. And so I'm struggling. How do I increase the limit, or am I going to have to put it in an OBRA trust? Excuse me, instead of doing it that way.
Yeah, and if he's still
So-
working, John, and now if he's still working, he'll be able to do the able to work the additional contributions to the account.
Yeah, I just need to I need to look at the form,
Mhm.
submit it, and figure some of that out. Second thing was, you didn't mention it, but if I understand correctly, excuse me, at the death of the, I'm gonna say owner, but it's probably not owner, the member, the family member, at their death, any money that's in that account goes back to the government, correct?
Nope. So there was a Medicaid clawback provision. And so Medicaid clawback stated that if the eligible individual were to pass away, their family, their loved ones could use the funds to pay for any outstanding bills, expenses, burial expenses, and then Medicaid could come back and take the remaining funds or take some of those funds to reimburse themselves. In 2020, the state of Virginia passed legislation to get rid of their Medicaid clawback. So Virginia does not have that. So what will happen now with the ABLE account, if the eligible individual were to pass away, you can now list and John, you've already had your account. So this is something that we kind of revamped and kind of rolled out, but you can now list a designated survivor on the account. This can be a family member, it could be a sibling, it could even be a family member who is a authorized, like a eligible individual. So two things will happen. If you have that designated survivor listed, if they are an individual with a disability, they can now have the account. They'll be the account owner now, and they'll be able to continue to use the account. If the individual listed as the designated survivor is able-bodied, they do not have a disability, the account would then just be canceled out, and then they would receive the funds back from the account.
Liquidated.
Yep, correct. Yes. Yeah.
Okay, and you called that no Medicaid claw,
Claw.
CLA?
There's a couple of different names. You can look it up. It's either like Medicaid clawback, Medicaid payback. So some states kind of call it different things, but typically it's that Medicaid reimbursement
Okay.
claim. Mhm.
All right,
Yep.
thanks. I didn't realize that.
Yeah, so we were very happy that passed because from 2016 to 2020, that was kind of a sore point for families. They were like, oh, well, Medicaid can come back and take our funds back. So they were like, we're not sure. So when Virginia finally decided to kind of take that away, that was a really great, we were very excited about that. So yes, you can have an individual listed that would receive those funds if something were to happen. Okay, so Lori, that is a very good point. So in her comment, she mentioned that with an individual having a will, a lot of times they have to leave the money for the special needs trust and not the actual individual if they are receiving SSI benefits. And that's actually a good practice because then it states where those funds can go and would not impact or hurt that individual who's receiving the SSI benefits or those SSDI benefits. Another really great tool to use if you have some questions or kind of just trying to decide about special needs trust, and I'm going to add it in the chat here really quick. It is called the ABLE National Resource Center, and they are through NDI, the National Disability Institute, and the ladies who run it are amazing. I've partnered with them before. They have a lot of great resources available on the website. And they have some decision guides. And one of the newest decision guides that they just released, I think in December, are special needs trust and ABLE accounts. And that decision guide is amazing. it tells you kind of the differences between them. It compares them. It lets you know kind of, what's needed to open or manage either of them. So it gives a lot of great information and some resources and tools on that. So that is the name of that. And I think they are a .org, and I can double check. But I always encourage individuals, if you can't find the information on our website, you'll be more than likely be able to find it from the ABLE National Resource Center. And that web link is, all right. All right. A lot of great questions. Any additional questions? So again, I'm going to make sure that you guys get a copy of the PowerPoints and a copy of our brochure. And John, I'm going to research on that bank account limit for you, and I'll email Bill and Larry and let them know the answer for that one.
One quick question based on John's question. So John said he's directly depositing his child's SSI to the ABLE account.
Mhm.
Does Social Security look adversely at that?
If it does, do they look at if you're direct depositing? Are they kind of like
saying, all right, you're taking that money out? We know he has more than $2,000 in another account, so we're going to start, I don't know, docking the amount that
Nope.
they're getting.
Nope.
No, it's when you set it up, you're setting it up so it goes to the bank. It took me a while, but I found the routing number. I found the account number. I don't remember what the bank was, but if you dig deep enough on the ABLE thing, it tells you, what the bank's name is, the routing number, and the account number. I didn't get everything lined up right and probably filled the form out wrong. I did it all online eventually.
Okay.
But no, to the computer, it just looks like another bank account.
Awesome. All right. Well, thank you, John and Brittany. Appreciate that.
Yeah, and just to kind of let you know, so again, ABLE accounts are designed to allow individuals to have savings without it impacting those benefits. So SSA, Social Security Administration, will know that the accounts exist. They know that the accounts exist, but again, these funds are protected in the ABLE account so that they will not impact those SSI or SSDI Medicaid benefits. I'm looking for the direct deposit. And John, it's really cool that you're doing the direct deposit. That feature was just launched, I want to say not even a year ago. So it's kind of a newer feature that we have now with the ABLE program. All right, let's see if I could quickly find.
So I think I had to go into the ABLE account to find the bank's name, routing number.
Yeah, it's
account
listed.
number.
It
And
is
then I
listed
just-
there. Yep.
My son's I've got him a my Social Security account. I think my IRS or whatever it is, and you can go in there then and say, change my direct deposit, and you take all the stuff you got out of the ABLE account, and you plug it in on the onto the Social Security site, and it took a couple of months to take effect.
Awesome. I don't see the blog article anymore. But again, if you're looking to set that up, and maybe if you run into some issues or have questions, our customer service team would be more than happy to assist you and kind of walk you through that process. Awesome. All right. Yes, Bill.
You talked about Medicaid previously having a clawback provision. Has Social Security ever had clawback provisions?
They have not. Nope, they have not. So it was just the Medicaid that could come back and claim that. Very good question. Awesome. All right.
I'm sorry.
No, you're fine.
I'm kind of got too much information, so it's all jumbled up.
No, you're fine.
Does the ABLE account, a bank account comes with it, or I don't you mentioned PNC, and so now I'm confused.
So PNC is what we call our custodian bank, and they kind of just run the back end and issue the debit card. So when we talk about like the routing number, the bank number, that's just kind of, that's so that it allows for you to make direct deposits into your account. But your ABLE account is essentially like a savings account, you know, so you want to treat it like a savings account, treat it like a checking account. So essentially your ABLE account is kind of like that financial tool, that checking or savings account. But the PNC bank, they are behind the scenes. You don't interact with them. You don't reach out to them. They just kind of do some of the behind the scenes back end work.
So you pick PNC, the ABLE account people.
So because we're a state agency, we kind of had to do like a request for a proposal. We kind of had to vet out a few different places. So our organization, you know, vetted them, picked them to kind of do the back end for our ABLE program for the first couple of years.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Can you talked about checking with an ABLE account? Can you write checks on an ABLE account?
So when you log into your account, you can have a check cut from your account. So you won't actually receive a checkbook, but you can either use your debit card, or you can go into the account and say, hey, I would like to receive X amount of dollars. And they'll give you the option, okay, do you want this money sent directly to your checking or savings account, or do you want us to mail you a check? So our organization can mail out a check, but you actually won't receive like checks with your account.
But in terms of payments from the account, you can't use checks to make payments from the account?
Because there's no actual like checkbook that you'll receive linked to the account.
Right.
But what you would do is log in. Let's say if you needed $100 from the ABLE account to go pay for something, and you could log into your account and say, okay, I want to withdraw $100. And they're going to say, okay, Bill, do you want the $100? Like, we'll mail a check from ABLEnow to you with your name on it for $100. Or do you want the funds sent to like your actual checking or savings account through a bank?
But in terms of paying parties, you can only use the debit card, or you could. If you're not going to get a check, you can't write checks then.
Right, but you could log in and have a check sent to. Well, actually, I think the check would go to yourself.
Yeah, that's not what I'm thinking about. You can't write checks to pay people.
So Bill, I was the guy that said how many accounts, because I've got 5 bank accounts in there. One of them is for my checking account to be able to deposit money in if Sean's running low, because we have automatic payments set up out of there. I have second account is Sean's debit account, so I can put money into there or take money out. I've also got a savings account in there, but then I've got 2 accounts. One of his roommates has a car, and he drives him back and forth to work. So every week I have a payment sent from the ABLE account to pay that young man for driving Sean back and forth to work for the week. I had to get his checking account number, the routing number, bank, all that stuff to be able to send it to him. We also are doing some counseling sessions with Sean, and so I pay that invoice monthly. I get an invoice from the counselor, I send him a payment. So again, I had to get his checking account, routing number and stuff, and I could send him a payment then. I think that's kind of what you were thinking about doing, correct?
Well, no, I was looking to get an old-fashioned checkbook, write a check on the account, and send it to somebody. And I guess you can't do that. They don't do that. Yeah.
No, no, unfortunately, we do not. No, but if you needed to write a check to someone, you know, kind of reiterating what John said too, you could always have the funds transferred from the ABLE account to your actual checking or savings, and then write a check that way if needed.
Right.
Yeah, awesome. All
My
right.
son needs leg braces still, and he's 21, well, sorry, almost 20, sorry. And so, there might be a time when I have to pay the orthotist $3,500. So how do you do that? I have to have their routing number?
So you could either, I think there's a lot of feedback right now. So you could either, I think you can use the card. There is a daily limit on the card for spending. I need to double check that. If not, you could have the funds, like you could have, again, we can mail you a check payment, or you could have the funds transferred to like your checking account and pay them that way. So there's a few different options that you would be able to pay them for those braces. You don't actually have to set up like their bank account in yours. John's doing that, for specific reasons, but there's other ways that you can make payments from that ABLEnow account as well. Awesome. Well, I want to
Okay.
be cognizant of everyone's time. It's 8:03. So I am going to turn it back to Bill. And again, if you guys have additional questions, utilize our website, or you can email Bill or Larry, and they'll be happy to share that with me.
Okay. Brittany, thank you so much for your time. What a wonderful job in terms of explaining
Yeah.
everything to do about an ABLEnow account. I will tell the audience that a couple months ago, I opened an account for Megan and went through the web page and did everything online. And it really was a very simple process to do. And it's really a benefit for all the reasons that Brittany had said before. So if you're thinking about doing it for son or daughter or someone else I would certainly recommend that. Please remember that we're going to go ahead and put this recording on the website. So that's available probably in a few days. We would appreciate any feedback you have on anything that we talked about today. The easiest way of getting in touch with us is just to send us an email at info@portocharities.org. And also, we're looking for suggestions for other online seminars. You may recall that the Charitable Giving Committee has made a commitment to host a webinar once a quarter. And so if anyone has any ideas on any future webinars, we would certainly appreciate it. But we would welcome your feedback, and we appreciate your time and attention this evening.
Okay, everyone, have a wonderful evening.
Everybody.
Great job.
All right.
Thank
Thank you again,
you.
Brittany.
Take
Great
care.
job. Thank you.
You're very welcome. You guys have a great night.
All righty. Bye-bye.
Good night, everyone.